Hello, my name is Mina Nada. I am a third year Earth Systems Science student in the School of Physical Sciences, and I want to specialize in oceanography. Zot, zot, zot. I like to consider myself as like a man of science, and you being a professor of physics yourself, I was wondering what's your take on how will teaching and education shape our like moral and ethical boundaries that society will have to like come to terms with in the not too distant future? Because I'm always reading on these science articles about how we're trying to put our genetic engineering aspects in, try to cure Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and all this stuff like that. So I just wanted to get your take on it.
Well, that's a great question, because I think often in the sciences, if you think about it, we don't necessarily at the undergraduate level and even at the graduate level worry about teaching sort of ethics and moral decision making, right? We focus just on the science. And you're right, we're at a very exciting time. You know, from a technology point of view, computational power has been a big transformative feature, and then just our ability to measure at the really small level and get down to the detail. However, we still don't fully understand even the science of complex systems. If you look at the history of science up to now, it's been very reductionist. It's very good at looking at the smaller and smaller pieces, but what we aren't great at yet is understanding the complex systems and how they fit together, because that requires mathematics at a higher level and a different type of mathematics, computational power and other things. And it's really in those complex systems, and a lot of the examples you brought up, particularly around genetic engineering and health, but there's going to be other big questions. We're going to learn a lot more about consciousness, both from our ability to measure things with the brain and our computational tools to mimic, either simulate or come close to, or maybe even actually reproduce consciousness in, say, computers or in those systems. And what you do with that is really, in the end of the day, ethical and moral questions. And that's not really something science is geared to answer. We're geared to answer questions about how the world works, not what we should do with that. But that should be part of the science education. And one of the challenges, if you think about undergraduate education, universities have been around for a very, very long time. And we still take just 4 years to teach undergraduates. But we know a lot more. And if our undergraduate education is focused purely on transmitting knowledge, we don't have enough time to do that. And if that's all we're worried about, we don't carve out the space to really look at some of these other more important skills. Critical thinking, complex problem solving, working in teams, being an independent learner. And underlying that is sort of that moral and ethical decision making. So figuring out how to integrate that into the curriculum, whether you do a standalone class or whether you make sure it's weaved in everywhere, or you do both. These are some of the questions my office will be encouraging faculty to ask of each other, so we can figure out how to tackle those challenging educational problems that come along with the challenging science problems. So that's a great question. I really like that. Thank you.